Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Jacob Maldonado, aka Jacob M. Maldo, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how you can track all of your business analytics all in one spreadsheet, and it's going to help save you so much time, and not to mention, it is free. So stay tuned for this amazing gift to you. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the link in the description and download the file. Once you get the file, which I have right here, what you're going to want to do is just go to Google Drive. If you don't already have a Google account, you'll have to create one. You can also use this potentially on Excel. I've never opened it up in Excel, so if it's not working in Excel, sorry, you're going to have to use Google Sheets. But you'll just go into Google Drive, and go to Drive, and I'll create a new folder for this YouTube video, just so I'm not putting this in a random example for YouTube video. That way I'm not just throwing this file in here randomly. But I'm going to double click in here, and what you're going to want to do is just drag and drop this in, and it should automatically turn green like this and have an X on it. That means it's a Google Sheets file. But if it doesn't for any reason, you just right click it right here and hit open with, and just hit Google Sheets, and that is how you open up the file. Alright, so when you first load up the spreadsheet, you'll notice down here that we're going to have several different tabs to this whole master spreadsheet. And so this first one is called backlog. This is where you're going to document the closed deals and pending deals that you have going on. And it has all the details, such as the date and all that. We'll get into that in a second. Daily activities. This is where you're going to track each day in and day out what has been done as far as your prospecting goes, appointments, and all that. The economic model, I got the word economic model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It talks about all these numbers right here and how we should keep track of them, as well as the conversion rates. Don't be alarmed if you see some errors here. The only reason there's errors is because there's not enough information to actually give you percentage. But ultimately what this tab does is it gives you an overview of all your big numbers to pay attention to in your business, so you can know what needs to be improved and all that. But you can also set your goals here, as far as like if you wanted $100,000 you want to make that year, it'll show you a breakdown of that, and then it'll show you your actual based on your backlog. And so the economic model is basically a giant summary of this entire spreadsheet. And so you're definitely going to want to pay attention to this, but you shouldn't really need to edit anything on this page except for your goals. Everything else is data from other sheets. Data from other tabs. So don't even worry about crunching in any numbers here. It's all going to come from your backlog and daily activities. The next thing here is your profit and loss. And so this is actually divided half and half, your loss side. This is where you're going to put all your items that you spend money on, like all your receipts you keep. You want to put them in here and categorize them. I have this drop down. It should fit in one of these. And then you just give a brief description of the item, how much money it was, the date that you spent it, and you won't need to put anything here. These are just placeholder for the monthly total, money spent for that month, and obviously the date here is January, so this is all going to be for January, and there's 20 spots for each one. You can always add more for each month. And the profit, this is going to show you all your deals, and you don't have to enter in any of this. This is all going to come from your backlog, and the reason that there's one here is because it comes from the backlog here. And if you see January, there's one here and it has everything here, so it'll automatically put in all your profit into the profit and loss with its corresponding month, which is super cool. So that's the profit and loss. And then it'll also show you your GCI short. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Your GCI source. Try saying that one. and it'll just show you like your source, and that'll come from the backlog. So when you're in your backlog, it'll ask you where is it, source right here, G. You type in whatever you got that source from, whether it was your sphere of influence, that's what SOI stands for, or cold calling, or for sell by owner, however you want to do that, and it'll show you the percentages and how much money you made from those sources. And then it'll also show you the volume with lenders. So if you close a deal with a lender and you put the lender name on the backlog, it'll show you how much total. So here's a lender. It'll show you how much total your volume you've closed with those lenders. And so that's a brief summary of all the tabs. So first and foremost, I want to get into the backlog here. So this is the most important thing to know. Do not delete any of these transactions unless you're replacing that transaction for another transaction in that month. What I mean by this is, because of the way I have programmed the profit and loss, if I were to delete this one, let's say I'll delete February, it'll give you an error message and won't calculate your profit and loss correctly. So if I were to delete this and I go to my profit and loss, Houston, we have a problem. There's just says NA, there's errors everywhere. And you might be like, alright Jacob, why did you make it so confusing? Well, I was making it to where you didn't have to type in everything multiple times. You just had to type in things in your backlog, your dailies, activities, and then in your profit and loss, all you have to do is calculate the money you spent. All the money you make is already noted from the backlog. So it makes it a lot easier to just know that you should not delete a transaction for a month. So these are all $0 transactions, so it's not gaining any money for you, but it's a placeholder to make sure the coding for each month reflects on the profit and loss. And so if you did close the deal in February, you can override this file. As long as there's one transaction in February, one transaction in March, you should be good to go. Anyway, so for the backlog, status, you can put closed or pending, and I think I even have one for option period. It doesn't matter. It's only going to count your closed deals as a transaction in your profit and loss, and that's going to contribute to your actual closed volume and all that stuff. So it's definitely important to put the status there. Obviously, you'll put your date closed, and that's self-explanatory, so you can keep track of when you close these deals. And you just put the address, the client's information, the deal type, was it a buyer, seller, renter, property type. This is just for your reference, it's not actually used anywhere else. So, house, apartment, whatever it is, condo, townhome. Source, we already kind of talked about this. Just put your description on how you gain that clientele, so you can keep track of how much money you're making for each source. So if you're spending Facebook ad money, you can tell, are you actually being profitable from those Facebook ads, for example. The lender, you want to put the lender if you're representing the buyer. If you're not, you just put NA. That way you can keep track of how many deals you're closing for each lender. The month, quarter, and year just keeps track of things, and I have it like this for other references throughout the spreadsheet, and this will automatically populate from when you put in the date, so you don't actually have to put in the date twice. And then your sold price, you just put in the contract price here, and your commission percentage. If you're getting paid 3% on the contract, you want to put 3%, and then from there it'll show you your GCI here. So GCI stands for gross commission income, and what that means is how much commission is technically paid out to whatever brokerage you're at in total between you and the brokerage. And so right here there's also a referral fee / team split section. So if you have a 25% referral fee on the deal, you can put that, or if you're paying an additional 20% or 30% towards a team, you can put that on here. And then I have EXP split because I'm part of EXP Realty. You can change that to whatever brokerage you're in, whatever your split you're paying them is, or if you cap, you can move it to 0%. This is the risk management fee that we charge, or EXP charge. It's like 40 bucks. I just manually put in whatever that risk management fee is. You should contact a broker if you don't know if you have one of those, but more than likely you will have one of those. And we also have a broker review fee of $25 at EXP Realty. So you definitely want to fill in whatever your broker review fee is. And if you don't have one or the other at your brokerage, you can just delete these columns. And then EXP also gets stock, and so I'm opted into that, so this is automatically going to calculate the stock that I get. And then if you don't have stock, you just delete this column, and then it'll pump out your total income. So this is after the stock is subtracted, this is after the broker review fee, risk management fee, EXP split, and any splits here. And so you can see the gross commission versus the total income, and that has a spot to put in the referrer. So if you had a referral fee on it, you can put in who referred you it, or if you just want to keep track of, like, if someone, like a friend or family member, gave you a referral, you know, you definitely want to keep track of that. And then any notes you want to take on it, just in case you needed to have any sort of thoughts with each transaction. And so this is just one of those things that you need to get into a habit of tracking all the transactions as you close them and put them under contract. So that's the backlog, and this information is going to get pushed into some other of these tabs, which we'll get into here in a second. But for now, just know this is how you can document and keep track of all your current transactions and closed transactions. So the next tab is the daily activities tab. And so to understand this, you definitely need to first and foremost understand the 4-point system that I use. So for the 4-point system, basically what you want to do, and there's total points here at the end, it'll automatically calculate the points based on what you put in on all of these blanks here. But the goal is to get 4 points a day. So a half a point is a good conversation with a lead. So if you have 8 good conversations that day, you can scroll over here and you'll have 4 points. And the goal is to get 4 points every day. Once you get 4 points a day, you can stop working that day. You did your work. So that's one way to get points. The next way to get points is appointments. So an appointment is worth 1 point. So you can do 2 buyer appointments, and these are split up between buyer and seller stats, and 2 listing appointments that you met with them those days. That's 4 points. So you do 4 appointments and you can get your 4 points. Now the next thing is listings taken and buyers taken, clients taken pretty much. Those are pretty much worth 2 points. So you can get 1 buyer under a buyer's rep with you and 1 listing taken, and that'll also give you 4 points. Okay, I was confused because I did not delete the buyer appointments. There we go. So if you got buyers taken, or you taken on 1 buyer and you taken on 1 listing that day, you get your 4 points. And then the best thing ever is when you have an accepted deal. That means you went under contract with someone. That right there is worth 4 points. So accepted deal, so you get 1 accepted deal from a buyer that day, you get your 4 points. And so that's the general philosophies of the points here at the end. But this is also really good to just track every day how many good conversations you had, buyer appointments, buyers taken. The showings don't go into account to the point system. Neither do the offers written, but I like to keep track of them just for my personal use. Obviously, accepted deals. Did you close a deal that day, and how much volume did you close? And then seller stats. It's basically the same thing. And if you notice when you download the file, these right here, there's going to be some arrows here, and if you open it up, this is actually going to give you, it should give you an error, and that's okay. It's just because a number can't be divided by 0, and what this is a conversion rate. So if you had like 10 here, and then you had, let's say, 1 buyer appointment, it's going to show you that your 10% conversion rate from good conversations to buyer appointment. And it takes into account buyer appointments and seller appointments. So let's say you had 2 listing appointments. Your conversion rate is going to go up 30% because you're getting 3 appointments out of 10 conversations. And so there's conversion rates throughout this spreadsheet that's hidden right now, just because there's no stats, and it's one of those things you just want to maybe want to see whenever you have a full month of data logged or 2 months of data logged, see what your conversion rates are looking like. But I have them on there, you just have to unhide them. And that is your daily activities. And your daily activities and the backlog both pour into what is called the economic model. And so the economic model is going to show you your appointments. That's going to come from the daily activities. And it'll give you a conversion rate once there's information on the clients taken. Once you start taking on clients, these will no longer give you errors because a number can't be divided by 0, and there's zeros right here. Once you have, clients taken, an appointment set, and you logged a number or your numbers for like 2 months, you're going to start to understand your conversion rate. And from there, you'll be able to understand how many appointments you need to set to make the amount of money you need, so on and so forth. So then it'll also show you how many deals you closed. This is going to come from your daily activities when it says close deals. So it's important that you go into your daily activities and make sure you are reporting your closings right here on the seller stat, and there's closings also for the buyers as well. So going back to the economic model, it'll also show you your average sales price. This is strictly coming from the backlog. It does the math for you so you can know exactly what your average sales price is. And then closed volume, it'll show you your total closed volume, again came from the backlog. And it'll also show you your average commission percentage. Now you're putting in the backlog what your percentage is. So whenever you go into here and you put commission percentage, it'll take an average of that. But it's going to give me an error here because I don't have anything on the backlog for a seller. And so let's go and play around with that real quick actually. So if we went to the backlog here, let's change one of these to a seller. Alright, seller. Make that seller, and then let's do 2.5% in there. And let's just make this 20%, 40, 25. And I did not put anything in GCI, so we'll just make it 250,000. Say we close to 250,000 listing. This is going to update your economic model here, and it'll show you your average commission split, or your average commission per sale is 2.75, and your closed volume is 375, and now showing the average sales price is coming up between these two. So, and then gross revenue is going to show you how much money you've made, and that's gonna come from the backlog. It just gives you a total of all your total income pretty much. And so that's the economic model. Like, you can start to see how it's going to start showing you your big numbers, your big figures in your business. Now, I wanted to go over the goals here. This is pretty important because this is something you actually have to modify yourself. Basically what you're going to do is fill in your goals for 1, 2, 3, 4 of these first 4. Everything else on this entire spreadsheet is automatically going to be filled in. Let's say you're going to want to make $200,000. We'll drop it down to $100,000. Let's do that. So let's say you want to make $100,000. Your budgeted expenses are, let's say, $40,000. Let's drop that down to $20,000. So you budgeted $20,000 to spend on your business that year, and your average commission percentage is going to look around 1.75, because sometimes you get that 2.5 commission, and most of them are 3%. So you put that in there, and then it's going to also ask you to put in your average sales price. So put in your average sales price. Let's put like 250,000. The rest is going to automatically populate. So it's going to say you're going to need to make 120,000 because you budgeted $20,000 in expenses to actually profit your goal here. This is how much closed volume you're going to need if you have that percentage of 2.75 each time, right? Because that's your average commission percentage. So you're going to need 4,363,000. And if all of those were 250,000, you're going to need a little bit over 17 transactions. So about 17 and a half transactions for the entire year. And so that's pretty much going to break down your goals here. Now, actual is going to basically all these numbers. So profit, this is how much your profit is at the time, and it's going to give you your goal percentage. So you're 7%. So if you're 7% in January, that's amazing. The next thing is how much money have you spent. It's going to calculate from your profit and loss, which we'll get into next, how much you've spent out of your expenses. And then your average commission, you're lined up there. Average sales price, this needs to come up. Otherwise, you're going to have to do more transactions. And then your revenue made, that's going to reflect, as well as the profit. It's the same thing, pretty much. Closed volume, it'll show you your current closed volume, and you're like 8% there. And then we don't have any dates set on the closed on the backlog, so it's going to show 0 here. But that's generally how the economic model is going to work. The only thing you'll ever need to edit is going to be from average sales price to profit. Alrighty, so the last tab that's really worth spending time to explain is the profit and loss tab. So as I mentioned before, you do not want to manually fill any of this out on the profit. The only thing you need to fill out is going to be what you've spent money on each month, and you can add by like right clicking right here, add row above or below if you need to add more. But yeah, you just want to put in the item, just a description of what it was, the amount, and it'll automatically start deducting things. And this number right here, like this whole section in the middle, is like the net number each month and for the year. So like let's say you went in there and you spent, let's just say $500. You'll see it's going to show you spent $500 in the month of January, and now your profit for the year definitely went down, and this is what you netted through the month, because you made $27.88.25, and so that minus 500 is $22.88.25. And so you can do this for the whole year, and eventually you'll have on the bottom here how much you'll have to pay in taxes. So it'll show you your yearly net, which is always going to be at the top here as well, which you can see anytime you're scrolling. And then I just put 15.3 because that's what an accountant told me the percentage was when you write things off. And it's just an estimate. Things can change, but it'll show you how much you have to pay towards taxes for that year. So that's super helpful to keep that money aside and keep that noted as you go on through the year and as you spend money, and keep your receipts. And that's pretty much it for the profit and loss. And again, you have the GCI source here. It'll just show you where your source of your money's coming from, and then volume from your lender, what lenders are giving you what. If you have any issues with this spreadsheet, just feel free to give me a comment, and you can also DM me on Instagram. It's at Jacob M. Maldo, the same as my YouTube channel name, and I'd love to help you out. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope this helps you actually understand what's going on in your business as far as the numbers go, and I hope this helps. If you found this helpful, please give me a like and subscribe, because I'm trying to provide more helpful content for you so you can grow your real estate business. If you're interested in partnering with me when it comes to real estate sales, please shoot me an email. The email's in the description, but it's also right here on the screen. So go ahead and shoot me an email and just let me know that you're interested, and I'd love to connect with you, see how we can help. So have an awesome day. Peace out.